Hey everyone, Scar for a Scar here with calling champion Jason Lai, showing off his Road to Nationals top 8 Dromai deck.
Happy to be here. Happy to beat Jordan in round 5. You know, Tomotai is must turn 1.
Turn 1, yeah.
You know how it is. Just
outplayed, obviously.
being good at the game.
Alright, so what have you got for us?
I've got Dromai, the deck that I played at Road to Nats. I went 0-1 into a 5-1 reverse sweep, and then I lost in top 4 to Justin, my boy.
On Prism.
Absolutely murdered me. Standard.
So not a good matchup for Dromai at the moment, or still figuring it out?
Certain variants of the build are just unwinnable. It just seems like she just can't really deal with auras that well. Even if you put in like lead the charge and shit, like we've tried it and it just doesn't really work. But it's like kind of whatever. Like every deck has bad matchups.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so this is my Dromai deck, Flame Scale Furnace, standard. Everyone has to run this. This is insane value. It's not much to say, this is just the best card in your equipment slots, I think. And then Cop is just insane as well. Silken Form, I think everything is basically
the staple here.
Yeah, and then you got Footsteps. I don't run the other Footsteps, the other
Silent Stilettos?
Yeah, Stilettos, I think they're just a bit shit. Like one-time use, cost 3, it's just a bit shit. And then I've got some Guardian sideboard here, Tunic and Ghostly Touch.
Okay, so, how come you're wanting to play Tunic against Guardian over the Furnace, where most people would value the 2 defense?
It's just, I don't think it's that relevant versus Guardian, because in Guardian, you kind of want to build up your Ghostly Touch counters and you want the game to go super long. And so over a long game, Tunic definitely gains you more value. And over the course of the game, you'll be blocking a lot of cards. It's more of a mid-range kind of fight. And you don't really get as much value out of your Furnace as you normally would against like a mid-range deck or an aggro deck or something like that. So Tunic definitely better in my opinion. It also helps you reach those awkward breakpoints, especially if you want to do a big turn with like, I don't know, Tomotai or something like that. It just helps you reach the resource that you need.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys.
Sweet. So I'll just move on to the rest of the deck. I'll start with the reds.
Alright, nice.
So something that a lot of people don't actually run very many of is attacks. I see a lot of people doing like dragon focus builds, but then you just kind of fall over to Guardian. So I definitely think that big beaters like Senopais are really strong. Something else that people don't really run is Sigil.
One of the best reds, right?
I reckon. Because what you can do is just attack with the dragon, pretend you don't have go again, and then Sigil and Chainlink Resolution, give your dragons go again.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like, you can block 3 cards, keep a Sigil in hand, Sigil in arsenal, anything. And you just like, if you have a board of dragons, you just go Sigil and then they're fucked. Next card that people don't really run is Spears of Surreality.
Bit of spice.
Yeah, like 1 for 5 go again is just nuts. Like you really want to open your turn with a red. 1 cost red is insane, and just it's on rate and doesn't care. Like you don't care that it has Phantasm
because you're running the Footsteps
exactly,
as well, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's a 1 for 5 that blocks 3.
Basically,
yeah,
like
good red.
This entire deck blocks 3 essentially. All you can do is you pitch a red, play Spears, and then they crack it, and then at instant speed you Flame Scale Furnace, and then you Footsteps. And you still got 1 resource floating and you've saved it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 Thor, this is basically for Icelander. Like, just in case they go for the Frost Hex, like, you don't even have to use this in the game. Just the fact that it exists in your deck and they see that it's in your graveyard, they won't go for the Frost Hex lock.
Yeah.
So it basically saves you that matchup by itself. And you only need 2 of them. Like, you really only need 1, but you kind of want to see it. So just run 2. And then the Ash Generators. Sweeping Blow, just staple. You have to run it in every Dromai deck. There's no way you don't run this card. It's just 1 for 3, but it gives you an Ash. Pitch a red.
Yeah, so you pitch a red and you basically get 2 Ash, taking for free, go again.
Yep. And Senopais, so this is basically the same as Spears, except it generates an Ash on break, and you want that. You want them to break it.
Yeah, so either way you're getting value, either if they're blocking it, they're breaking it, or just taking damage from it.
Yep, exactly. Such a solid card. And then Rabble, another card that I don't see many of. This is essentially the same as Sigil, where it's just like a 1-card hand. You just play Rabble and then you go off with all your dragons. It helps you see the top if you want a Tomotai or Dominion or anything. Really good. If you can Rabble and then save your Dominion for the next turn if you want. solid card, staple, I reckon. And then CNC, Erase Face. These are your disruption cards against mid-range decks. Phi and Lexi.
Yeah,
Prism,
definitely good against those.
breakers for Prism, like it's just solid card, solid turn ender. So really good turn cycle is just pitch a card, go spears, pitch a card.
So even with a lot
furnace.
of crowns running around, you're still sold on having CNCs.
I reckon. I
Because
mean,
a lot of people want to say the card's dead now. You don't
CNC's
agree with
dead.
that? Yeah.
Fuck no. Lexi, well, anytime an aggro deck gets good, Lexi gets good. And you want a card that fights Lexi. And CNC is the best card for that. So definitely CNC.
Erase Face is also pretty good at stopping her from fusing.
Yeah, stops fuses.
Stops Reveal to give you a Frosty.
Yeah, stops Draconic Chain Links. Like, it's just really, really solid card. If they have a Spreading Flames in hand about to pop off on you, you just Erase Face and then you have to take a turn off.
Yeah, also hits the tome and the sword.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, Sword doesn't give them go again. 3 Fate and 3 Sync. These are your defense reactions against mid-range decks and aggro decks. It's really, really solid. You can really go like a mid-range, slow, kind of just like big beaters kind of build, and then wait for your hand to line up with like 3-4 dragons and drop them all. Because you've been building Ash all game anyway. And what you can do, like, you can just like sink below and then Furnace to make Ash and just...
Yeah, because you have played a red when you defend
Exactly.
with these cards, right?
Very versatile card. Yep. And then moving into the Dragons, 3 Miragi, it's just like like against some decks, it's just so good. Against mid-range decks where they're running like, I don't know, 6 to 12 poppers, it's really strong. Because it's just insurance. It's a 2-for-4 stat line. It's just really good in my opinion. I think it's the best 1-cost dragon. And then the big 3, you got Dominia, Tomultai, and Dracona.
Yeah, these are the big boys of the deck, right?
Yeah. So these guys, like, typically I wouldn't even really play them. They're just kind of there if your hand seems to line up, or they're really, really necessary. Tomultai obviously being the biggest hitter. This, I reckon, is the best card in the deck, hands down.
Yeah, can straight up just win you the game when it resolves early enough.
Yeah, like turn 1, turn 2, if you're able to get a Tomultai off, crack Scabskins, crack Mask, crack Tunic against some decks, crack a, what is it, Crown of Seeds, or like, what's Lexi's one? New Horizon.
So with the legendary dragons, are you playing all 3 of them in every matchup, or do they come and go?
No, I think Dominia and Tomultai are really good. Dominia is basically your insurance that they don't have a 6 in hand. And if they already didn't have a 6 in hand, you can basically ruin their turn. Like if they're setting up for a belittle turn, you can take away their belittle search target. You can also just like take out their Spreading Flames or anything like that. Like any combo piece will just like ruin their day.
Yeah.
And it's really only there for
Do you think maybe Optimi is just a bit too greedy with just damage?
So. I think Optimi is really good if you're searching for a way to close out a game against a grindy matchup, like the Mirror, for example, or Guardian. It's really good for game closing, but you kind of do have to pitch stack it a little bit to put the blues above the Optimi and then put the reds below, so you hit 3 reds.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the staple dragons, basically Kyloria,
Snatch Dragon,
insane. 1 for 4 and 2 is just crazy. Just snatch on hit. I've never done it before, but this against Dash, bro, just take the
chambers, take the purifiers, yeah.
Yeah. Just it's kind of disruption against Dash, but they run lots of breakers, so it's kind of whatever. Snatch Dragon's just insane value. I don't know, I love playing it. I love attacking with it, resolving its effect. It's huge. 3 Azvalai. People don't like this card for some reason. I think it's nuts. 0 cost.
I think it's just a solid 0-cost dragon.
Yeah. It's 2 and 3, so you attack for 2 and 1 arcane, and it's got 3 health. Like that's pretty good. It's pretty awkward for people to kill.
Also must be a bit huge in the mirror, right?
Yeah, absolutely huge in the mirror. Like this will destroy the mirror. You just wait until they play their rake and then you Azvalai and just like gain so much tempo, like paying nothing essentially. It's also really good if you want to, I don't know, somehow like tank it when you know your opponent's about to go to 1, and it's a good game ender as well. Endurai, Endurance Dragon, it's so strong. It's basically a 3 for 6. Tankiest dragon. It's really good to play out early game. when they don't want to lose tempo by dealing 6 damage to a dragon, is just strong. And then late game, they can't afford to lose tempo by dealing damage to a dragon. So
either way, you're happy with it just sitting around or soaking up some damage.
yeah, literally, if they choose to do like the endurance counter plus 3 damage to it, I'm happy. And then Dromai, probably the best 0-cost dragon in the deck. Like, it's insane. Action point dragon is so strong. It's insurance against breakers. It's a way for you to, like, for example, you could go Dromai, erase face CNC, and it's just like the turn's over because you've got 2 action points.
Yeah.
It's just so versatile, and it's really good insurance as well. When I remembrance cards back into the deck, it's typically Dromai. Matchup dependent, but Dromai is really good target for remembrance. 3 rake. These generate your ash wings. A lot of people run yellow rakes, but I don't think that's good because it doesn't give you go again on your dragon attacks. I think red rake is really solid, really stable, and against some decks it's like backbreaking. And then 2 Necria. It's okay. It's good when it's good, and if you get it off early and your opponent is kind of still setting up a little bit, it's really strong. Because at that point you don't have much ash, and the more they hit Necria, the more ash you gain. Basically sets you up without you actually having to do the setup yourself. 7 health. I mean, like, it's really only like 5 health or something like that.
Helps generate a lot of ash as well against Fire and Katsu, where they have a lot of small attacks.
Exactly. So if it can generate you 2 ash even, it's really good. But typically people will just throw a 6 into it and kill it in 1 hit. Uvia, it's another dragon that's kind of situational, but really strong when it's strong. Generating an ash ring every turn is really good, but you never really want to attack with it. So it's just sitting there as your factory, popping out ash wings. You really have to be careful when you play this because it can deplete your ash really quickly if you're not careful about it. If you end up blocking your hand every turn and just generating an ash ring turn by turn, you'll be like out of ash so fast. So you just have to be careful when you play it. 1 Burn Them All just to essentially close out games against mid-range decks. Really good against Oldham in the like 3rd cycle. You just play Burn Them All and then you just ash ring attack every turn for 1 arcane. Typically they won't run Arcane Barrier because it's inefficient, and you've probably cracked their crown with Tomotai as well.
Yeah.
So it's just really hard to block the arcane damage. 1 Remembrance. This is essentially for any grindy matchups.
Yeah, you touched on this a bit. Yeah, you like sending back what the Chromais with it.
Chromai's really solid card for Remembrance.
Because the grinding games are the games where the deck that you're playing against is going to have a lot of poppers, right? Just natural 6s.
It's not so much about the poppers though. It's just like your utility dragons, like against the mirror. Even though they're not popping your dragons, you really want your Asvalais for their rakes. So against Dromai Mirror, for example, I will always Remembrance the Asvalais first priority, and then maybe the Dromai second, or the Uvias even. The Uvias are quite strong there.
Yep.
Moving into the blues, Cinnapai, same shit as before. It's just a 2 for 6 in blue.
Strong blue, right?
Just strong. Blocks for 3, like, what can you ask for? 1 Epot. This is kind of mid-rangey, like, it's similar to Tunic, where it helps you reach certain breakpoints when you can't afford it. Like for a Tomotai, you pitch a blue, pop the Epot, and go in.
So what, are you wanting this for kind of like games where they're not going to be over super fast, but maybe not going to be a super grind?
Yeah. I suspect this meta will be quite mid-rangey, so you want it for a lot of decks. Against the decks that you want to block against, not so much maybe like Lexi and Fire, you probably side it out.
Yeah.
But against a lot of the other decks, it's really solid, like Raya even, Dash. Prism is alright, but it's kind of weird. You can kind of pop off on them and try and overwhelm them if the board state is okay. Just like I don't really side. I don't have a sideboard guide. I kind of just side based on feeling and based on the
Gut
person.
instinct, eh?
Yeah. Like, I know what everyone in Auckland is like and what they play like and what their deck's built like. So I'll just.
What about Kale though? You never know what he's going to be playing when you show up to an event.
Guardian, bro. It's always Guardian.
Oh man, you figured it out.
No, I haven't figured out shit, bro. He's figured out the Illusionist matchup, man. 2 Passing Mirage. This is just a good solid value blue. Like, it's something that they have to kill almost. it's hard to play in matchups like Fire where they just want to Phoenix Flame it at the end of the chain. But overall, it's really, really good insurance against decks that only have like 6 to 9 poppers. And against decks like Lexi, where it feels really bad to kill it because they have to load an arrow and hit it, and it ends their turn. When they could be hitting a dragon, for example. Billowing Mirage, it was a card that we found was really good in the mirror because it creates an Ashwing, and basically in that matchup, whoever has more dragons wins. So this is really solid in the mirror. What you can do is you can go on a really shit turn, you can pitch red, Billowing Mirage, Caloria, and then Ashwing kill Caloria. So it's really solid value. And then Sweeping Blow, same as before, really solid card.
Just a must play,
Staple,
right?
Staple,
Yeah.
absolute staple. And then one Semblance just for the Guardian matchups. And Brute matchups, I guess.
Are you saving this with the Ghostly Touch?
Yeah, you have to save this with the Ghostly Touch. And that's where
Ghostly Touch
Epop comes
finisher.
into play as well. Just helps you get over that breakpoint, really. Like a blue and a red, and then Epop to Ghostly Touch Semblance. It's strong.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the top 8. Obviously, Dromai is quite a new hero for the set, only coming out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say to maybe the newer Dromai players that are still trying to figure out the deck? Maybe some things that you've seen online that you don't typically agree with?
I think I've basically covered all of that already. I think people get too hung up on playing the deck a certain way, and I think the more that you play the deck into all the matchups, the better you'll feel about your deck list. Because I think that this is at least 50% into every deck as long as you play it properly and side it properly. If it's built like this. But I know a lot of decks are like kind of 100-0 into one matchup, 0% into another matchup. Like it's just a little bit all over the place, but I feel like it's should be a mid-range deck.
All right, so you're kind of rating Dromai as you can take it to an event and have a comfortable chance against anything you might come across?
Pretty much. And the first time we started building this deck, I actually wanted to run it against every single deck that exists. So I got my team to basically run every single deck into me, just so I knew how the matchup was and if I needed to side any cards for it. And I think that's the best way to build the deck. That's basically how this deck was built, to have a 50% matchup into everything. So that basically means that if you're the better player, you're going to win.
All right, nice. Well, thanks again, and again, congratulations on the top 4 performance.
Thanks, man.
All right, cheers, guys.